Hey, good Wednesday morning, everyone. This is Mitch. Hope you guys are having a great start to your day, great start to your morning, great work week so far. Going to talk about the weather specifically for today, your Wednesday, April the 27th, and talk about what could happen today. I don't expect a very active day in the weather world. And then towards the end of the video, I will briefly mention the fact that things are really picking up as far as severe weather over the next several days, all the way into early next week. The Storm Prediction Center has introduced a 15% risk of severe weather occurring for multiple days. So we're going to talk about that very briefly at the end of the video, and then I'll give you some updated information in this evening's video and talk about that. So if you guys have not subscribed, definitely consider doing that. Like the video if you like it, as always. And if you guys got anything I can pray about, please put it in the comments below. And as always, it gives me an opportunity to pray over it. And more importantly, it gives a lot of other people an opportunity to pray over it also. So let's get going this morning. Let's take a look at the water vapor loop. And I'm really showing you this really because this trough is finally beginning over the next several hours. It completely will clear the eastern U.S., the East Coast in general. Some of the coastal regions of the eastern U.S. is still clinging to that humid, moist air mass, and the temperatures are pretty mild this morning in the 60s in certain areas, but eventually more dry air will filter in. Dew points will drop well into the 50s, 40s, even 30s for certain areas, even 20s. And more dry, kind of the mid-spring type air mass will kind of move into the eastern U.S. where you lose that humidity and just feels great. The only area really along the eastern U.S. that will not be influenced by this cold front is Florida. I do think some drier air will move in later tonight, this evening potentially, but this really isn't a super strong cold front necessarily. It's not like it's bringing extremely below average temperatures to the eastern U.S. But there's also another system, a little short wave will kind of ride along this mid-level trough and bring the chance for some severe weather in this portion of the country right here, Colorado, Oklahoma, areas of the Panhandle of Texas, and then even areas of New Mexico for sure. But going forward, we'll take a look at watches and warnings and advisories, things like that. I know it's probably pretty small on your screen, but these areas right here in this blue color right here, this is frost advisory. So tonight, protect any sensitive plants to the cold weather. Temperatures dropping and probably staying for a few hours at temperatures around, maybe 33, 34, 35 degrees. And then freeze warnings for this portion of the Ohio Valley, maybe even Great Lakes region. Freeze warnings up, temperatures will drop below freezing they are expecting in these areas. So please protect any flowers that you planted, anything that you plant in general that's very sensitive to cold weather. Definitely cover them up and definitely protect them because it's going to get pretty chilly in this area of the country tonight behind this cold, influenced by this cold front that has moved through the eastern U.S. Then this really bright blue color right here, that is freeze watches. So we'll see if these get upgraded to freeze warnings here in the coming hours throughout the day. And then today we have this marginal risk for severe weather right here. That's a level 1 out of 5. That includes areas like Amarillo up to Colby, all these little small towns here in Kansas and the Panhandle of Oklahoma, and then including a pretty large area of northeastern, eastern areas of New Mexico, and even southeastern Colorado, where some storms could fire. Tornado risk is lower than 2%. Doesn't even have really an outlined area. Wind threat, 5% risk, 25 miles on any given point. Hail threat, 5% risk, 25 miles on any given point. And this is really going to be some cold core storms, as you're going to have some steep lapse rates in place. And it's going to cause a little bit of a spike in CAPE. So there's going to be a little technical juice to the atmosphere out here, but dew points will be, really low in the 40s and 50s. So it's not like you have a real moist air mass in place, but we'll talk about that here briefly here in a second. But as far as precipitation for the eastern U.S. in general, the only thing you're dealing with is some leftover moisture with a low pressure that developed along this trough. So you're going to deal with some showers in Maine and New Hampshire and Vermont today. In the higher elevations, where cold air wraps in, these rain showers might turn to snow in areas of Vermont, maybe even New Hampshire. The higher elevations of northern and northwest areas and northeast areas of New York State. And even down here in just western areas of New York State and even northern sections of PA. Some snow showers this afternoon where high temperatures will not get above freezing for certain areas, and only in the 30s even for other areas. So some snow showers flying around, maybe Buffalo, They might linger and try to make it into the northern suburbs of Pittsburgh. So don't be surprised if you see some snow showers flying around the interior northeast today. I wouldn't be shocked at all. In fact, it's likely to happen. Maybe some heavier bursts of snow up here in areas of far western Maine and higher elevations of Vermont and New Hampshire. But down here, down south, maybe some storm development with you still got moist air ahead of this cold front down here in Florida. Some pop-up showers and storms in inland Florida is definitely possible today. So just watch out. It's starting to enter more of a summer-type pattern down there. Then we're watching these storms right here. And let's go on and take a look at those after we look at temperatures. Today, it's going to be a big boundary. Like I said, the cold front it's a weaker cold front, but it's deeper up here and influencing the weather more so big time here in the interior northeast, where highs in those same areas I just mentioned with the snow could fall only in the 30s in PA, 30s and 20s, in areas of New York State, and just a chilly day in the northeast. But once you start to get into Virginia, point southward and westward, a tall ridge begins to build and temperatures are rebounding quickly. So even though a cold front has moved through these areas, Tennessee, the Mid-South, the Southeast, temperatures are not going to be influenced big time at all. In fact, temperatures are going to still rise into the 70s, even 80s in certain areas. It's just that time of the year here in the South where, you get cold fronts, but unless it's just a powerful late season, late spring type cold front, it's not going to drop the temperatures dramatically. It will drop them, but really what it does is it kind of stabilizes the air mass with more drier air. It doesn't really drop the temperatures as much, but you already got warm temperatures rising all the way back into up into southern areas of Iowa, even warm temperatures all the way in certain sections of South Dakota, highs rising into the 60s, 70s and 80s for Nebraska, 80s and 90s certain areas in Kansas, 70s for the entire state of Missouri, 70s for Arkansas, 70s and 60s for Tennessee and Kentucky, and then the deep south, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, the Carolinas, all 70s and some 80s scattered in there for sure. So a warm day really across the South and Mid-South, and even getting into areas of the Ohio Valley also. So as far as these storms here that we just mentioned in that area where there's a threat, right here in Colorado, areas of Kansas, Oklahoma, panhandle of Texas, New Mexico, some storms can fire up here, but I really don't anticipate this being a big deal at all. The HRRR model, the latest one, isn't enthusiastic about the idea of any of these being a real big deal, but some small hail with cold air aloft could easily be obtained with some of these storms, even if the storm itself might not be intense. So hail could easily happen with some of these little cells, even if they're just heavier showers. Hail can easily happen. As far as precipitation out west, not a big deal really, just some scattered rain and snow showers in northwest areas of Wyoming, southern sections of Montana, and areas of Idaho. Low pressure developing. You see a little bit of moisture in areas of the Rockies, but it's going to be well above average. Even some higher elevations, in the Front Range here in Colorado, we'll still see just rain as the ridge is building in this part of the country right here, where you have above average temperatures that are going to dominate. Maybe some rain and snow showers up here in the northwest. Seattle, maybe it's just some rain showers today. But as far as temperatures, above average temperatures for this part of the west and central U.S. Up here in the northwest, slightly below average temperatures. It'll be kind of chilly in Seattle today. Only highs around 50 or so, give or take a degree. And then, just the southwest, warm as always. You guys are just steadily warm up, as you always do for this time of the year. Storm Prediction Center, going forward, tomorrow there's another marginal risk up for this portion of Kansas, west central areas of Oklahoma, and then kind of west central, north central, if you will, areas of Texas, including Abilene and places just north, Wichita Falls, and places just west. I would not be surprised if this has a chance to uptrend to a slight risk. But we'll watch. It's kind of a similar situation as today, but you're dealing with a little bit better moist air, but you're going to have a cap in place, which sets the stage for Friday, which you will have a big time cap in place, which is that area, stable air aloft, just above the atmosphere, just above our heads, about a few thousand feet in the atmosphere. Enhanced risk has been opened up for day 3. This is for Friday, so this is becoming a much bigger deal. Slight risk extends all the way into far northern counties of Texas, and this includes areas of Oklahoma. And then you got the enhanced risk right near the triple point, where I think you will have more confidence and just a more convective blow up of storms here in this area. But you're going to have a dynamic atmosphere, associated all the way up to the shortwave low pressure, and then point south where a dry line will set up, and you will have some increased dynamics in this place with surface temperature, moisture content at the surface. The Cape levels are reaching pretty high, well above 2,000, 3,000 joules per kilogram at the surface, and it's going to be a severe weather threat going forward here. Saturday, severe weather threat for portions of the Ohio Valley and the Kentucky, Tennessee, Missouri. And then we get into day 5, which is Sunday. Then you get a massive moisture return into Texas and in areas of the western deep south. Severe weather threat associated with a totally different low pressure. Watch out areas of western Texas. Day 6, I talked about this. This is from Monday. I talked about this in last night's video. This has a chance to be a big-time threat. There will be a big cap in place, but there is big-time Cape values and dew points surging well into the 70s with this threat. And then day 7, it drops off. So we have multiple days of severe weather coming up. So stay tuned. We'll keep y'all updated. God bless, and y'all have a great Wednesday.